tips?
Yeah,
Any particular advice for him?
take it serious.
It's live globally on the biggest streaming platform in the world. My good old friends Netflix, baby. You guys wanted me to go bigger? How about twice as? Be the toughest fight of his career.
Sharp, relax.
The most embarrassing fight of his career.
Chair across your face.
Yeah, I think he's about to cry.
Mike Tyson has basically sounded the alarm, telling Jake Paul to walk away from a fight with Anthony Joshua before it turns into the most brutal wake-up call of his life. Think about it. Jake would be standing across from a two-time heavyweight wrecking machine with explosive knockout force, a level of danger he has never even been close to facing. And at this stage, the question isn't about headlines or hype anymore. It's about whether this fight is bravery, blind delusion, or one of the most recklessly insane stunts ever thrown into a boxing ring.
Jay is a knockout artist with fights that have literally ended in seconds. Two fought legends, Klitschko, Usyk, Ruiz, Ngannou.
Biggest shot I have seen live.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little scared.
When Mike Tyson spoke about Jake Paul challenging Anthony Joshua, he didn't offer advice, he issued a threat-level warning that shook the entire sport. When Iron Mike tells you to cancel a fight, he's forecasting catastrophe, not giving friendly pointers. And if Jake shrugs it off, he's essentially volunteering to collide with a runaway heavyweight locomotive. Tyson stripped away all sugarcoating, looking Jake dead in the eye with, "Take it seriously, or you're going to be greatly mistaken," which wasn't a suggestion, it was a man who has watched fighters get shattered, telling you a devastating storm named Anthony Joshua is headed your way.
Gonna fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division. The fact that Jake Paul wants to fight that guy, I'll watch. And if you want to show you're legit by taking on one of the scariest heavyweights alive, he's gonna be terrifying. And he's gonna have a lot to prove. He's gonna be very angry that Jake Paul wants to fight him. Again, a guy who survived Usyk twice.
Tyson understands exactly what Jake is stepping into, not a YouTuber face-off, not a gimmick crossover spectacle, but a 6'6" demolition engine with destructive power that has folded men twice. Jake's size with 10 times his experience, and Tyson's instinct comes from who he is, a fighter who would battle anyone, spar anyone, tear anyone apart. That's real warrior DNA speaking. The voice of someone who knows firsthand what happens when an unprepared man walks into the wrong ring against the wrong predator.
Paul, he's set to face his toughest competition yet. He's going to face off against the former heavyweight champion, that would be Anthony Joshua. The fight's in Miami on December the 19th.
What scares Tyson most is the idea that Jake is bringing influencer confidence into a heavyweight death chamber. Anthony Joshua isn't Nate Robinson, isn't Tyron Woodley, and definitely isn't some aging MMA veteran doing payday sparring sessions. AJ is a top-tier destroyer, and Tyson doubts Jake will last long enough to land anything meaningful. And here's the gut-punching truth. Tyson sees clearly Jake's trademark overconfidence. The same thing that made him a star could be exactly what gets him violently switched off. Because in heavyweight boxing, charging in with ego is the quickest ticket to another dimension.
He favored against Paul. And that's understandable because Joshua he's only 35 years old, and Jake Paul has not fought young guys before, he's fought older guys. So you think he's going to win?
That's why Tyson's warning didn't just echo, it rattled the entire boxing community. He wasn't joking, wasn't selling, wasn't hyping anything. He was issuing a serious alert. A legend telling Jake, this isn't entertainment, this is danger with a price tag. People aren't calling it risky for clout. They're saying it because weight classes exist to stop fighters from suffering real damage, and this matchup breaks every unwritten rule in the sport. A fully armed heavyweight beast against someone who built his name, punching opponents already past their prime.
He's a top 10 heavyweight on the planet versus internet sensation, someone who's a latecomer to boxing and has boxed at a very moderate level. I'm talking domestic level, and he lost to Tommy Fury, for instance.
Journalists didn't bother with politeness. They labeled the matchup a grotesque mismatch, a bad comedy, something that shouldn't even receive approval anywhere. That isn't Haiti's boxing lovers, desperately trying to keep the sport from turning into a circus, ending with hospital visits. And the warnings keep escalating. Words like dangerous, health risk, injury, threat, ambulance fight keeps surfacing from seasoned pros. When professional fighters say someone could get seriously hurt, you stop laughing, because they aren't talking about losing a bout, they're talking about long-lasting damage.
For putting himself in harm's way, because boxing is a dangerous game. People have died in the ring. People have been seriously injured, maimed, and he believes in himself enough to do it on a massive scale, because it's not about the money. He's got enough money. This is him wanting to push the boundaries of reality. He's manifested an amazing life for himself. He's a super...
Some experts bluntly declared, Jake Paul isn't walking into a boxing match, he's walking into an execution. They highlighted that AJ isn't a misfit boxer, isn't a content creator, and isn't a retired MMA grappler. He's a two-time heavyweight champion with hands built to crush ribs and end nights. Putting Jake in front of that was called irresponsible. And before anyone talks skills, the obvious fact stands, Jake Paul is not a heavyweight. Anthony Joshua isn't just larger, he's practically another species of fighter. Side-by-side fight. Jake looks like a kid next to a Marvel villain. Critics said it's like a bug pressed against a windshield beside AJ's towering 6'6" frame. That's pure physics.
Insane challenge. You described it before as Jake Paul being a cat versus Anthony Joshua's lion.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not equally matched on any sense, are they?
And it goes far beyond height. Joshua is a natural 240 to 245 pounds of solid muscle, precision, and championship-level experience. He drops men who walk around at 260 pounds. Jake, meanwhile, has spent half his career fighting opponents who were smaller, older, or from MMA backgrounds, which isn't an insult, but simply the truth of his resume. Yet the real nightmare isn't AJ's size, that's the destructive power that comes with it. Joshua hits with force that literally shuts off consciousness. He sends trained heavyweights into survival mode with a single shot. Now imagine Jake Paul, who struggled with a beginner angle. Tommy Fury standing in front of that.
Jake Paul can come 15-20% in regards to Anthony Joshua. He's a completely different specimen. Look, you'll see what it looks like when they stand next to each other. And Anthony Joshua, he's not a bodybuilder. You know, he's a prime athlete. He's someone who's dedicated his life to this. He lives it. He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. He's a real clean athlete who is going to inflict some horrendous damage to Jake Paul.
And then comes the experience gap. And it isn't a difference, it's a bottomless chasm. Joshua has battled champions, icons, and monsters. He stood in Olympic finals, world title wars, and high-pressure moments Jake can't even picture. Jake has around a dozen fights, no amateur upbringing, no Olympic training, no years of brutal gym wars against top-tier heavyweights. He learned boxing on the internet. AJ survived it in reality. That gap terrifies experts. Jake isn't just facing a better boxer, he's facing decades of ring intelligence, timing, setups, traps, and instincts he has never witnessed. One wrong move from Jake against a true heavyweight puncher, and the night doesn't end in an argument. It ends with medics climbing into the ring.
Fighting Anthony Joshua.
No, look at my... Oh, no. Are you crazy? What the...
Are you scared?
No, I'm terrified.
Classes exist because fighters' lives depend on them. Matchmaking rules exist so mismatches don't turn into tragedies. And when nearly every expert says this fight crosses those lines, it's not exaggeration, it's honesty. The mismatch in size, force, experience, and danger is overwhelming. The people who deeply understand boxing are genuinely afraid for Jake. The chilling part, it's not just Mike Tyson sounding alarms anymore. It's the entire boxing world lining up, practically begging Jake Paul to turn back before he becomes a knockout highlight reel. When every expert issues the same warning, the danger is absolutely real.
Steps in with Anthony Joshua, and it's a proper fight and there's no restrictions or anything like that, he's going to get hurt. It is dangerous, it is bad for the sport, it should absolutely not happen. I know that the people will be saying, well...
Adam Catterall didn't sugarcoat anything. He said Jake isn't just inexperienced, he's stepping into a fight so far beyond his capabilities that it borders on malpractice. His words were ruthless. In a real fight with real rules, Jake doesn't just lose, he gets hurt. Then Carl Froch joined in with blunt disrespect, saying Jake can't box, calling him useless at AJ's level, and describing the whole thing as minimal risk and maximum reward for Joshua. Frock didn't even treat it like a real contest more, like a light training session. Attached to a massive payday.
I think Jake Paul finally realises what he's got himself in for fighting Anthony Joshua. This is not going to go good for him. Every day that passes, it seems more and more like this fight is legit and it's going to happen.
Ryan Garcia joked about it, but the humor only made the truth sting more. He laughed, wondering how someone jumps from 135 pounds to 225. He said, Jake winning even a single round would be a miracle, and called it the worst choice Jake could have made. Then Johnny Nelson delivered one of the coldest lines ever. You can play football, you can play golf, but you can't play boxing. He said Jake is out of his mind, thinking he can play with Anthony Joshua. To Nelson, AJ gains nothing from this, while Jake risks everything, including his teeth.
2 chances of winning that fight, slim hope and no hope. He, you know, he's obviously very delusional. And he's a legend in his own mind. You know, Anthony Joshua, when you look at his pedigree, he's a former Olympian, right? He's a 2-time world heavyweight champion.
Duke McKenzie skipped all jokes and went straight to fear. He said he genuinely worries for Jake Paul. And when former champions start using the word fear, the conversation stops sounding like a sporting prediction and starts sounding like a medical warning. Tommy Fury, the man who already beat Jake, went nuclear, saying, if I can beat Jake Paul, what do you think Anthony Joshua will do to him? Even his father joked, AJ could beat Jake with his weak hand. They're not treating this like a competition at all.
Paul is in danger, serious danger. I know you've heard it all before, but I could just reiterate what everybody else is saying. He's in serious danger of being seriously hurt.
Frank Warren tried giving Jake some credit, but it ended up being unintentionally harsh. He said Jake is trained, licensed, and fully aware of the danger he's stepping into. Translation, Jake isn't clueless. He's just willingly jumping into a lion's den. And Tony Bellew finished the conversation with the coldest take. Gross mismatch. His health is in jeopardy. I'm not even entertaining it. Bellew doesn't throw words lightly. If he says your safety is on the line, you take it seriously.
Dangerous game. Your brain isn't supposed to rattle around in your head, particularly the way it's going to for Jake Paul when Anthony Joshua starts letting those punches fly. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be, I hope they've got some real good paramedics close by because it could be that bad.